So case in point to what Professor Hansen was just saying, San Francisco, the city plagued with massive problems, obvious problems if you ever go there, huge homeless population, needles, human waste piled on sidewalks, no exaggeration, car break-ins at the highest level in the country. The city government, though, doesn't care about this. They have other priorities, including, this week, the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco labeled the National Rifle Association a domestic terror organization. Watch this.
Supervisor Catherine Stephanie wrote the scathing declaration, reading in part, quote, "The National Rifle Association spreads propaganda that misinforms and aims to deceive the public about the dangers of gun violence."
The NRA has it coming to them, and I will do everything that I possibly can to call them out on what they are, which is a domestic terrorist organization.
The irony, of course, is that the Bay Area is the headquarters of a domestic terror organization, Antifa. But don't expect the Board of Supervisors to condemn Antifa anytime soon. Katie Pavlich is an editor at townhall.com, and she joins us tonight. So, Katie, really simple question. Who's killed more, I would ask you, NRA members or judges in San Francisco who've let heroin dealers back into the city?
Judges in San Francisco, and let's not bring up the illegal alien who used a gun to kill Kate Steinle illegally, but that's a whole other issue that San Francisco doesn't want to talk about. Tucker, I think with all of these smears that the left has thrown at the NRA over the past couple of months, but especially in recent times, I think it's important to talk about what the NRA is and what it actually does. The NRA was founded in 1871. It is one of the oldest civil rights organizations in America. Charlton Heston, who went on to be the NRA president, marched with Martin Luther King Jr., was standing on the Lincoln Memorial steps when he gave his I Have a Dream speech. Roy Innis, who was a civil rights icon, he served on the NRA board of directors for 25 years until his death in 2017. I have met thousands of NRA members. I'm a lifetime member. These people like personal responsibility. They like freedom. They believe in the Second Amendment, and that is why they are members of the NRA.
Right.
And I think it's important to be clear, people don't own firearms because of the NRA, as San Francisco says in this stupid ordinance that they passed. They own firearms because they have a constitutional right to do so to protect themselves and their families. And everything that NRA members represent, rural America, individualism, personal responsibility, is what the left hates, and it's the NRA that is responsible for thousands of hours of gun safety training,
right,
thousands of hours of hunter education training, and thousands of hours of work on real legislation that just went through, for example, the Fix NICS program, which actually does more to help with the background check system in this country so people who shouldn't have guns don't have them.
Well,
whereas the left just accuses them of being terrorists and does nothing about the issue.
Well, that's kind of the crux of it. And by the way, you know, a lot of us who believe in the Second Amendment and think the Constitution is worth preserving are rooting for the NRA and, you know, hope that its leadership gets its act together and protects the Second Amendment, you know, for real, because it's important. Right. But the irony, it seems to me, in this case is you just had a guy who murdered someone right on the Embarcadero in downtown San Francisco with an illegal gun,
right,
and leadership in San Francisco is like, no big deal.
Well, you know, Tucker, you know, leadership in San Francisco and the left in Washington, D.C. attack the NRA as if it's not made up of people, as if it's not made up of Americans. There are 5 million members, and yes, the leadership at this very moment has some things to work out, that's for sure. But the membership has been there since 1871, and these are people who believe in their constitutional rights, who believe they should be defended, and the left, it's deeper for them. It's not just about guns, it's about what people in the NRA represent, what their values are, a traditional American values, and wanting freedom from the government to take care of themselves so they don't have to go to the government and ask for help when the government can't be there to protect them.
Exactly.
They want to do it themselves, which is why the Second Amendment is so important to them. And for San Francisco and other leftist politicians to continually smear them and accuse 5 million Americans of being domestic terrorists when they're not the ones shooting up schools and they're not the ones carrying out mass shootings.
Exactly right.
They're doing the opposite by trying to prevent them through legislation and by educating people about the respectful and lawful use of firearms.
Yeah. So a moral lecture from the people who preside over violence and chaos aimed at the most peaceful parts of our country, you know, is a lot to swallow, I would say, as you point out.
Well, and those people want to disarm people in San Francisco from defending themselves against the violent people on the streets in San Francisco.
Not sustainable.
Nope.
Katie, great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.